Well, hello everyone. It's so good to be with you today. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Take 5. We're in the series that we have entitled The Faithful Steward. And this week we are talking about being a steward of our time. Now I know that is something that a lot of people think that's unnecessary. That's not something that God expects. But the more you look in the scriptures, the more you realize that time is one of the most important things that God expects us to steward. We're supposed to be, without a doubt, good stewards of our money and finances and resources and of our bodies and of our giftings. But time is also one of those things that God really looks at to see if we are using what He has given us well. And so in order to do that, we have got to analyze what He's given, and we've got to make sure that we steward it good enough that we can fulfill the purpose that He has for our life. Every one of us have just a certain amount of time to live in this life, and not to mention the fact that Jesus is coming. And that could happen any moment. It could happen before we finish this very broadcast right here. And I'd be great with that. Knowing that, then, this means we've got to be good stewards of our time because we don't know how long we're going to live. We don't know when the Lord's going to come. We've got a purpose we've got to fulfill, and we need to be stewards with our time. In Ephesians 5, Paul tells the church to wake up because they seem to be wasting the time that they have been given to fulfill the purpose of God. And that's why he tells them, wake up and fulfill the intention that God has for you, the purpose God has for you. We really can't afford to procrastinate on any of this because time for all of us is running out. Now, if we're to live with the purpose that God intends, then we need to grasp some type of understanding of the value of time. Back in Ephesians 5 again, he says, see that you walk circumspectly. And that's just a fancy word that means to walk diligently, appropriately, and intentionally. Do it with purpose is basically what it means. Walk circumspectly, not as fools, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Now, every time you use the word redeem, that has something to do with value, and it's no different here when it comes to this concept of time. Redeeming the time. So two definitions as it is used right here. Number one is to regain possession from the power of another and to acquire the appropriate value. To regain possession from the power of another. That speaks volumes when you think about how this concept of time really began to kick into play. And it started all the way back in the Garden of Eden. When God placed Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, time didn't really mean anything because they were supposed to live forever and not die. So time was actually on man's side. But when Adam and Eve sinned, part of sin's curse meant that they now must die. And beginning that day, the clock began to wind down for Adam and Eve until the day that they would draw their last breath. And from that day until this very day, when a man is born, time starts counting down from the time he's born until the time he eventually dies. And so that's why we've got to be a good steward of it, because we only have a limited amount. So we must redeem it. We must get the appropriate value out of it while we are able. We must do it, and we must not allow Satan to steal it from us through distraction or any other kind of silliness. And you need to know he's doing everything in his power to do that. And that's why Paul said in Ephesians 5:14 in the Amplified Version to wake up and live with purpose and redeem the time. So we know what redeem means, but what does it mean to have purpose? What does that mean? So it's real easy definition. It says to have the intention of doing something, the action of accomplishing it, and the stewardship to not procrastinate. Now that makes sense. To have the intention of doing it. You know, a lot of people have good intentions. As a matter of fact, the saying goes that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That is, good intentions that were never followed up on. So intentions alone is not enough. but it is part of it. So to have the intention of doing something, to have the action of accomplishing it, and to have stewardship enough not to procrastinate about it, to do it now. If we are to fulfill our purpose, we cannot waste any time because it's a commodity that's running out for all people, sinners and saints alike. Let me get you to think about something real quick. You see, it's not just the fact that time's running out on us who are saved, who are supposed to be winning the lost, but the life clock is also winding down on those that are lost as well. So this candle is kind of proverbially, burning from each end. And so we can't really afford to waste any time. We got to strike while the iron's hot. And we've got to be a good steward of the time we have been given. Even Jesus knew this. He was aware what it was to be a good steward and to not be a procrastinator with his time. He knew that. One verse speaks volumes, and that's John 9:4, where Jesus said, I must work the works of him who sent me while it is day, for the night is coming when no man can work. Now, did you hear that? There are four very powerful things that he is telling us right there. Number one, he's telling us he is doing a work that he has been sent to do, because he said, I've got to work the works of him that sent me. So he's doing something that he has been sent to do. This was his assignment. This was his purpose, and he must steward what God has given him to do. And the works that he's doing are the works of God. So God is the owner. Christ is the steward here. He's obligated to do these works because Jesus said, I must do them. And he knows he has a very limited time because he said, I've got to do it now because night's coming when no man can work. So he's doing a work he's been sent to do. The works he's doing are the works of God. He's obligated to do them, and he knows he has a limited time to get them done. That's what it means to redeem the value of time and to fulfill the time we have here with purpose. That's exactly what it means. Exactly what Jesus said. That's what we should be mimicking in our life from day to day. What do you say, friend? Let's make it a point in our life today that we are going to fulfill the plan and the purpose that God has for us and not waste one moment, but be good stewards of the time that God has given us in this life. Well, hey, I've got to get out of here. It's been good being with you. I look forward to being with you tomorrow on Thursday's edition of Take 5. Till then, God bless you. Have a great day. Remember, friend, trust the Lord. He will never fail you.